fine hooligans? Hope all is mucho bueno with you, as always. This is a video that I've wanted to do for quite a while now. And I don't know, I never got around to it until now. But I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite movies and a detail in it that I don't really see many people bring up, at least when I talk to them about the movie and everything. So we're going to talk about it now. I need to make sure I'm doing my proper due diligence. When did that come out? 1987. I actually thought it was a little earlier than that. If you're not familiar with the movie The Lost Boys, it is a 1987 vampire flick that is one of the best vampire movies. I don't know, maybe of all time? At the very least, it's one of my favorites. I think, I don't know, maybe it's I saw it at the right age. I was born in 1990, so with anything, there's a lot of carryover for the first few years of a new decade. I watched a lot of 80s movies, 80s shows, and stuff like that. So for me, as a kid, when I saw The Lost Boys, it was I loved it. I loved the soundtrack. I loved the look of everything. I can't forget the absolute legend that is the saxophone player in the movie. It's one of those movies that is a perfect, in a way, teenager kind of I don't want to say coming of age movie, but I don't know, maybe in some ways it is. But so many things went right for this movie. The aesthetic, maybe the time that it came out. You're at the end of the 80s going in, just a few years going into the 90s. So some people, when things are changing, they can go back and watch this movie and still get a little bit of nostalgia in a way, even though it wasn't that the 80s weren't that far removed. And I mean, come on, the cast, you got Keifer Sutherland as David. You got a young Jason Patric as Michael. He went on to, more recently, I shouldn't say he went on, but more recently, he's been also featured in Terrifier 3. A young Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. And it's just Alex Winter, pre-Bill and Ted. If you wanted to cast, if you wanted to be hey, we're going to have 4 vampires and they're all going to be handsome as shit, they did it. And, forget, Cry Little Sister. I've met people who know that song that have never seen The Lost Boys. And it's it's just such a good song. Okay, I feel like I'm babbling, so I'm going to get on to the detail that I wanted to now. So with the character of David, played by Keifer Sutherland, before a certain scene, he is very charming and charismatic, and he comes off as in a way, a late teen, early 20s kind of character who's just having fun and likes to have their little parties or whatever have you. He's, like I said, he's very charismatic. The smile and laugh that he has is very charming and just comes off as very hey, we're just having fun. You know what I mean? We're in Santa Clara. We're in California. Fucking, you know what I mean? Just have fun, live your life, party all night, sleep all day, as the poster says. But when things start progressing with Michael and throughout the movie, we see a very drastic change in David's character. Once they have their feeding scene when everyone's having that bonfire, David then flips a switch, and the smile that was once, charming and just kind of we're having fun and all that, very immediately has a more sinister tone to it. He comes off much more, I don't want to say a psycho or whatever, but he has that I don't know, that the dark intentions behind his face, it becomes a very intense smile and an intense look in his eyes. And for me, it's at that scene when, everything is kind of fully revealed to Michael, and he has to come to terms with what he's seeing, that, you know, David, like I was saying, David's character completely changes. We have this one character who's trying to bring Michael in and kind of like, I don't know, be a charismatic leader and stuff like that. And then you have this leader who's much more like, this is what it is, and you will feed. You don't have a choice now.
But you must feed.
And I think Keifer Sutherland does such a great job portraying that. And I think nowadays when people talk about like a character arc or whatever, they don't really know what it means a lot of the time. They just kind of like heard it on social media or whatever. But with a character arc, sometimes it is, you know, a slow ascension in some ways, but then we have this one scene where everything changes, and now we see this character for who they really are. And I think that like Keifer Sutherland's portrayal of David in this is very much a I don't know, in some ways it's like a perfect way to like show that kind of thing, where we have a bit of like breadcrumbs and everything. We know like, all right, something's up with this guy. I don't know, maybe keep an eye on him. But then when something finally happens, you're like, oh shit, like I get it now. He's not like this, just like, oh, carefree, relax, dude, have a drink, fucking have some Chinese food, don't worry, it's just noodles, Michael, it's just rice, it's not worms and maggots. That is one of my favorite parts of this movie, is when you get to that scene and David's character, and the other ones as well, but David more so, just completely changes how he is portrayed and how he is presenting himself to Michael. I don't know. I absolutely love that little detail. I wanted to finally make a video talking about it. And I love talking about movies and everything. So, you know, I figured I'm just going to sit down and we're going to talk about it a little bit. Also, the other thing that I found interesting, The Lost Boys. I've always kind of thought this was an interesting title, because The Lost Boys in itself is a reference to the story of Peter Pan and his group that never grow old, much like the vampires we see in the movie. So it's kind of like, you know, I don't know, it's like a fun little reference to Peter Pan and everything. And that's one of my favorite stories, and even just like old school animated like Disney movies. So okay, well, I guess that's it. I'm gonna stop rambling on. And if you enjoyed it and stuck around for the whole video, I appreciate it very much. Go check out the other content on the channel. And yeah, I don't know, I guess that's it. I don't know, I hope you guys liked it. That's all I have to say. And if you, I don't know if anyone enjoys just me talking about movies and stuff, then I'll do more of these, because I love movies. I love being able to talk about movies and certain details of them or whatever have you. So yeah. All right. Always remember, you are worthy of kindness and love in this world. Don't let just hateful people try and tell you who to be, because you're fine the way you are. I promise. And stay undefeated against the bad days. We need you here. The world's a better place with all the weird people and the artists and everything like that. If we didn't have, you know, those kind of people, we wouldn't have awesome movies like The Lost Boys to enjoy. So stay undefeated against the bad days. It's worth it, I promise. All right, all my quiet gets freaks and weirdos, for the love of everybody, keep being weird. Kick Shishakitan. I love you. Be good.